This is Jill Pack with the Seasons of Joy podcast. This is episode number 116, entitled, Who Told You That? Are you a woman of faith who is struggling to navigate your current season of life? Do you feel like life is just happening to you instead of for you? My name is Jill Pack, and I'm a certified faith-based life coach and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I want you to know that no matter your season or your circumstance, it is possible to create a more joyful life, and I would love to show you how. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, my friends. I'm so glad you're here, and I apologize for my voice. I'm not sure what is going on. For the last week or so, I've kind of been navigating this frog in my throat, but I'm not sick. So anyway, I sound a little different than usual. So sorry about that. Anyway, I am excited to talk to you today about what I consider a very important topic. I would say that it's one of the most foundational things to understand as you work towards creating more joy in your life. But before I get started, I wanted to invite you to check out my website, www.seasons-coaching.com. If you are ready to take what I talk about on the podcast to a deeper level. You can learn more about how to work with me, my one-on-one private coaching, my couples coaching, and my group coaching, which actually the next group begins on September 11th. So just click on the Work With Me tab to learn more. If you're ready to create more joy in your life, I would love to be your coach. Now on to this week's episode. We just got back from a family vacation up in McCall, Idaho. With all of our adult kids and our 3 grandkids, we were just missing a daughter-in-law. But other than that, everyone else was able to join us. And although we had different arrival times and departure times, we still were able to be together for part of our time there. McCall, Idaho is one of our favorite places to visit and spend time there. I just love everything about it. The Payette Lake is right there for boating and kayaking, and there are some really great mountain biking and hiking trails. We even drove up north to Riggins, where my youngest daughter is working as a river guide for a company up there, and we were able to float a section of the Salmon River. We spent hours in the indoor pool of the rental house we were staying in, and overall, we just really had a wonderful time. However, one of the things that has become common this time of year, even here in Cache Valley, is this blanket of gray smoke hanging in the air from the forest fires around the western United States. And McCall is no exception. The smoky haze gives this feel of a stormy day, but it isn't the weather at all. The smoke acts like this filter over the sunshine. It tends to mute the vibrancy of the colors of the lake, the sky, and the trees. The color's still there. It's just hard to see as clearly. And this got me to thinking as I looked at this haze about the stories that we've collected over the years about ourselves. They too can become like this smoky haze that filters over our ability to see things clearly and to feel things like acceptance, peace, happiness, or joy. And these stories can mute the vibrancy of the colors of our lives. Have you ever really considered the stories that you tell yourself? I recently heard someone share a strategy that can help us when we are stuck in this spiral of negative stories we have about ourselves or our lives. So when you notice yourself slipping into this negative story spiral, simply ask yourself, who told you that? When stories like, I don't know why I even bother trying, I'm just not good enough, reply, who told you that? Or, I'm an imposter, so I should just not try for that position at work. Who told you that? or the scale hasn't gone down. It's no use trying to lose weight. Who told you that? Often when we find ourselves stuck in the negative story spiral, we begin to believe that our thoughts are just the facts, believing that because we have thoughts that feel believable, that seem believable, well, then they just must be true. Therefore, they are facts. The problem is that when we believe that all of our thoughts and feelings are facts, they start dictating how we behave in our life, in our relationships, and this prevents us from being more intentional and fully exercising our agency. We start living life from a reactionary place, an unintentional way, which moves us further away from being the person we really want to be. One way we can lift ourselves out of this negative story spiral is by tapping into our prefrontal cortex and by choosing how we want to see things, by shifting our perspective. And we can really do this simply by asking ourselves, who told you that? And when we do this, we automatically create this space or this distance where we can begin observing our thoughts and seeing them for what they are. Thoughts are just sentences in our brains, and all thoughts are optional. Now, it doesn't mean we aren't honest with ourselves or that we just deny reality, but that we view our stories as mutable. Our thoughts are not the facts. Maybe you have someone in your life that has told you you aren't good enough, or someone may have told you that you are an imposter, or someone may have told you that you will never succeed. But by asking yourself, who told you that? You put that person who said that thing as someone who has an opinion. What you are hearing is someone's opinion, and it's not a fact at all. So the next time you notice yourself slipping into this negative story pattern, please pause and ask yourself, who told you that? You can even have some fun with it. I heard this lady say, come up with interesting people that maybe have told you that. Like, for example, did Snoop Dogg tell you that? Did your cat tell you that? Did Cruella de Vil tell you that? Allow yourself to step into being the observer of your thoughts. Remove the drama of the thoughts and the stories. And when you do, you can begin sifting through those stories that are no longer serving you and letting them go. Letting go of those stories that are holding you back from living and being who you really are and who you want to be. I remember when I was in college, I was making choices that weren't aligned with the person I really wanted to be. And these choices led me down a path of forgetting who I was and who I wanted to be. And as I got married and I had children and I matured, I began to make choices that felt more aligned with who I wanted to be and what I wanted my life to look and be like. However, there were stories that played as repetitive soundtracks in my mind. And I carried these stories, the weight of these stories around with me for years. And they were believable. They just seemed true. They seemed like the facts of my life. Stories of not being good enough. Stories of unworthiness. Stories of being flawed and broken. These stories were smoky haze that prevented me from seeing and creating something different for myself and for my life. It really wasn't that many years ago that I actually gave myself permission to rewrite the negative stories I was telling myself. I began to shift my perspective and change my stories. That gray blanket of shame started to dissipate, and I no longer let the negative stories define who I was. And I want to give you permission today. if you're looking for it, to stop letting the negative stories that you have been telling yourself define who you are and what your life is. You get to change the narrative in your mind about who you are. You get to decide on purpose the stories you're going to tell about yourself. And you can begin starring as the person you aspire to be. There aren't any limits to who you can be. You don't have to consider anyone else's opinion or what they think of you. You don't even have to consider your past or your current abilities. You get to pick your new story based simply on what you truly desire and believe is possible. When you look in the mirror, ask yourself, what do you think about you? What do you want to create? What do you want your story to be? Who do you want to become? This is your opportunity to write a new chapter, to redefine your identity, and to live a life that aligns with your true self. Now remember, the pen is in your hand, and the story is yours to tell. If you find yourself feeling stuck or overwhelmed by the weight of your negative stories, remind yourself that you hold the power to change the narrative. It's not about denying the challenges that you have faced or the hardships that you have faced, but about reclaiming your agency and choosing how to interpret and how to respond to your experiences. The shift in perspective can open up a world of possibilities and allow you to live a life that is more fulfilling and aligned with your true self. What would it be like to embrace the journey of rewriting your personal stories? Now, it may not happen overnight, and it will require intentional effort, self-acceptance, and self-compassion. Ultimately, your story is a reflection of your inner world. And by consciously choosing to focus on your strengths, your aspirations, and the beauty of your unique journey, you can create a narrative that not only honors your past, but it celebrates who you are becoming. Remember, you are the author of your life, and every day is a new page waiting to be written. If you are a woman of faith, you can invite a co-author to your story as well. Invite God into your story. Your heavenly parents have known you from the very beginning. They know who you really are and what your potential is and the desires of your heart. They deeply love you and they want the best for you. And they want you to take all of your experiences here on earth and to use them for your good. So take a deep breath, pick up that pen, and start crafting the story that truly resonates with your heart. And remember to ask yourself, who told you that? That's all I have for you today. I hope you found something of value in this episode. Until next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Seasons of Joy podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends and family. If you want to learn more about me or how to work with me, just visit my website, www.seasons-coaching.com, and have a joyful week.